You ever see someone destroy their entire reputation over a plastic kiddie pool? Because that is exactly what happened when our HOA Karen climbed into my fenced backyard while my little daughter was playing outside and somehow convinced herself she had the right to inspect private property like she owned the neighborhood. What happened after that ended with police body cam footage, legal threats, furious neighbors, and a lawsuit that completely changed the HOA forever. My name is Ethan Cole, and a few years ago, my wife and I moved into a quiet suburban neighborhood that looked perfect from the outside: clean streets, nice houses, good schools, and one very aggressive HOA that cared more about appearances than actual people. At first, everything felt normal. Neighbors waved at each other, kids played outside, and most people stayed out of everyone else's business. Then we met Valerie. Before this story gets even crazier, make sure to like and subscribe to Karen Stories Daily, because stories like this prove some HOA board members completely lose control once they get even a tiny bit of power. Valerie was the HOA compliance officer. And honestly, she treated the role like she worked for federal law enforcement. Grass slightly too long. She noticed trash invisible for 5 minutes, she complained. Wrong flowers in somebody's front yard, somehow that became a violation too. Most people avoided arguing with her because dealing with the HOA usually became exhausting fast. I tried doing the same. But everything changed during one brutally hot summer week when my 6-year-old daughter Lily begged me for a small kiddie pool. Nothing fancy, just one of those cheap plastic pools kids splash around in during summer. So I bought one, filled it with water, and placed it in the middle of our fenced backyard, completely hidden behind a 6-foot privacy fence. Lily loved it immediately. She spent hours outside laughing, splashing around, and honestly, it was one of those moments that makes being a parent feel worth everything. Then 3 days later, I found an HOA violation notice taped to my front door. According to the notice, unauthorized recreational water installations violated neighborhood appearance standards. I honestly thought it was a joke at first. Then I looked across the street and saw Valerie standing there watching my house with her arms crossed like she had uncovered some major crime. I walked over calmly and asked how she even knew there was a kiddie pool in my fenced backyard. And this woman actually smiled while saying water reflections were visible from nearby property angles. That sentence alone made me uncomfortable. I told her respectfully the pool was temporary, private, and inside my fenced yard. She responded by saying HOA rules still apply to visible recreational structures. I asked directly if she climbed something to look over my fence. She completely ignored the question and warned me the pool needed removal within 48 hours or daily fines would begin. At first, I thought about just draining it because honestly, I hate conflict. But later that night, my daughter quietly asked if she was in trouble for having the pool. That hit me hard because now some power-obsessed HOA woman had made a little kid feel guilty for playing outside during summer. So instead of removing the pool, I emailed the HOA asking for clarification about how a kiddie pool hidden inside private fenced property violated any real rule. No response came back. Instead, another violation notice appeared with added fines attached that already annoyed me enough, but things got truly insane. The following Saturday, I was inside making lunch while Lily played outside when suddenly she ran into the kitchen crying hysterically. First, I thought she got hurt, but through tears she said the scary HOA lady was in the backyard. The second she said that, my stomach dropped. I ran outside immediately, and there was Valerie standing inside my fenced backyard beside the kiddie pool, holding a clipboard and taking pictures. For a moment, I honestly could not process what I was seeing. Our backyard gate had been closed earlier, which meant she either opened it herself or reached over the latch to get inside. I shouted, "What are you doing in my yard?" She barely reacted. Instead, she calmly said she was documenting ongoing HOA violations. I walked directly toward her and told her to leave immediately. Then she pointed at the kiddie pool and claimed failure to comply. Gave the HOA inspection rights for rule enforcement. I could not believe what I was hearing. This woman entered private fenced property while my child was alone outside because of a plastic pool. I told her if she did not leave right now, I was calling the police. She rolled her eyes like I was the unreasonable one, but eventually walked out while still taking pictures. Lily stayed shaken for the rest of the day. Honestly, so did I, because this situation crossed way beyond annoying HOA behavior. This was trespassing that night. My wife became furious after hearing everything. She wanted police involved immediately, while I still hoped maybe the HOA board would realize Valerie crossed a serious line. So I emailed the entire board explaining exactly what happened and demanding an explanation. The response made everything worse. Instead of apologizing, they defended Valerie, saying compliance inspections were necessary to maintain neighborhood standards. Necessary inspections. Inside my fenced backyard over a kiddie pool. That was the exact moment I stopped trying to be reasonable. The next morning, I installed security cameras covering the backyard gate, fence line, and patio area, and honestly, that decision changed everything, because only 4 days later, Valerie came back again, this time while she thought nobody was home, except I had taken the afternoon off work because I no longer trusted her anywhere near my property. Around 2 in the afternoon, my phone alerted me. Motion detected in backyard. I opened the camera feed, and there she was again, opening my gate, walking directly toward the kiddie pool, holding a measuring tape and notepad like she was conducting some official federal investigation. I remember staring at my phone thinking this woman genuinely believed she owned other people's homes. I walked outside quietly and asked if she enjoyed trespassing on camera. The look on her face changed instantly. For the first time since all this started, she actually looked nervous. She tried claiming emergency compliance authority, but I immediately informed her police were already being called, and this time I meant it. When officers arrived, Valerie suddenly became much less confident, especially after they reviewed the footage showing her entering private fenced property without permission. One officer asked directly whether the HOA had legal access rights for backyard inspections. She could not answer clearly. Instead, she kept repeating HOA enforcement responsibilities like that somehow overrode actual trespassing laws. Officers instructed her to leave the property immediately and informed everyone the matter appeared civil unless unauthorized entry continued. But by then the damage was already done, because now I had video footage written, HOA responses and witnesses, proving the board knowingly supported trespassing behavior. That is when my attorney reviewed everything and said something I will never forget. He looked at me and said, "Ethan, your HOA just made a very expensive mistake." After my attorney reviewed the footage and HOA emails, he immediately filed legal action against both Valerie and the HOA board for trespassing, invasion of privacy, and harassment. The moment the lawsuit became official, panic spread through the neighborhood fast. Suddenly, the same HOA board that defended Valerie started blaming each other. Some residents were furious after learning HOA representatives had entered private, fenced property without permission because people realized if Valerie did it to us, she could do it to anyone. During legal meetings, the HOA attorney tried arguing Valerie acted within compliance authority, but the security footage destroyed that argument completely. The judge even questioned why a children's kiddie pool hidden behind a privacy fence became such an extreme enforcement issue in the first place. Valerie looked completely different in court compared to how confident she acted in the neighborhood. Quiet, nervous, and avoiding eye contact. In the end, the HOA settled the case before trial finished. The fines against us disappeared completely. The HOA paid legal costs and new rules were created limiting HOA access rights permanently. Valerie resigned only a few weeks later, and the funniest part is my daughter still uses kiddie pools every summer now, except nobody bothers us anymore. If you enjoyed this story from Karen Stories Daily, then like, subscribe, and comment below if you think some HOAs get way too much power, because honestly, this entire situation still feels insane to me.